Good afternoon, everybody. Today is June 7, 2022, and this is Evan Studios' weekly kind of podcast number 38.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so we used to do a thing where I will be like, I'm your host Stark, and with me we have Isaac, but apparently we do it the other way around nowadays.
So is our host Stark, and I'm Isaac.
Yeah, so that. How are you doing, everyone? First of all, let's do the mic check. I want to know if you guys can hear me. Which is, I'll probably get the mic check in
every single time.
I'll probably get the mic check in like 15 seconds because of the delay. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is working. So today we have with us, at least talking in chat, we have Era N, a crowd favorite, and we have a new person, Akazaro. How are you doing? So yeah, we haven't done a podcast last week, even though we said we would. But the reason why we did it is because we wanted to give you guys more time to try the final version of Fleeting Iris, so you guys could give us some feedback. We haven't got a lot of feedback, but we have got a lot of bug reports. which is great, which is essentially what we wanted. Honestly, I'm gonna get this out of the way right away. Probably if people don't complain, or if people don't post any more bugs or whatever, I think we're going to have like one more week of bug tests. Just
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because most of the things that people reported so far are like this image or this dialog box or this. Nothing seems to be like a major bug. There's no the game is broken here. Yeah, the new map is completely messed up or the new fallen state doesn't work properly. Like nothing like that, which is nice. Actually.
I still obviously there are still many changes that we need to do on Fleeting Iris. Obviously, I want to do that on my free time. Right now, working on three games at the same time. People don't realize, especially on my job, that everything that I have to do is not essentially just staying on the computer and writing dialogue and making decisions. Like having make sure that everyone in the team is working and everybody's working at the same pace and everything is being directed and stuff arrives on time, and there's so much back office on a company like this that I had no idea. I thought like making games, that's also one of the reasons why I got a publisher back in the day. People keep asking if getting a publisher was like the best idea, and at the time, obviously, the financial part of the business is obviously important. We want to be able to make money so that we can hire more people, so that we can keep working on something that we love. But back when I first talked with Rakshun and the owner of Kagura Games, and we started and we at Evan Studio started considering getting a publisher. One of the main reasons why that happened was, first of all, we were approached by other publishers. There were other publishers while we were still in development that they were like, we need to get your game out as fast as possible. You guys are going to make a lot of money. Just give it to us and we're going to do it. And it felt extremely predatory. And one of the reasons why we decided to get a publisher was like, we don't want to have to deal with all the bureaucracy. We don't want to have to deal with all the nuances of selling and where do we want to sell and the documentation for that and all that shit. We just wanted to focus on making games. That's one of the reasons why at the time I decided to get a publisher, but because I wanted to spend all of the available time that I had to work on something to be, spent on actually making games, instead of having to like be signing papers and having to have like these boring ass reunions and whatnot, and having to figure out if the game was selling well or not. I was like, listen, I'm going to clean my hands from that. I'm just going to step aside. I'll let the professional team deal with that, and I'm going to focus on doing what I do best and what I enjoy doing, which is working on the game. Obviously, there were upsides and downsides, but that doesn't matter. But we have already discussed this extensively. But one of the reasons why we did it at the time was so we would have free all the available time that we had was spent working on the actual game, instead of having to deal with all that bullshit. So that's one of the reasons why we got a publisher at the time. And right now, Fleeting Iris, working on three games and having to do all the back office, I find myself working a lot of times that are not being put into like production. They're productive hours because obviously I am doing stuff that needs to be done. I am having meetings that needs to be have, explaining what I want from the game. To everyone that we outsource stuff, we have to we have to explain everything that we have very specifically, regardless if it's music, if it's sprites, if it's drawings, if it's CGs, whatever it is. Explaining exactly what we want and trying to explain our vision sometimes takes a lot of time. We have to do very rough sketches of what we want. Sometimes we have to like pull together like random images from Google, like random guy looking to the right and like a random basket bin and a random pile of dirty clothes, and then assemble it all on Photoshop and be like, ta-da, this is what we want, but in CG and not looking like shit. So all that stuff like takes so much time, and working on the game at first, Fleeting Iris, back like 8 years ago, it was a lot more simple because everything that I did was like either create maps or create menus or draw menus or write dialogue and everything. Every almost when we had a small team and we were using like public assets and whatnot, it felt like all the production hours, all the productive time that I had was spent on working on Fleeting Iris. But as the team gets bigger and we start getting a lot of original stuff, there's a lot of time that goes into just not working on the game. Just, you're doing stuff that is required to be done, but you're not putting those hours into the game or the games in this case right now, and it's a little frustrating at times. Um, but it's cool because having so many people working towards a goal and working on these amazing games that we know we're going to release very soon, Journey Abroad and the shoulder patch for Fleeting Iris. I'm already so excited to release that, and then Bloodlust right after. And thankfully last week, most of the time that I had to work, I actually got to put most of it into working on Journey Abroad. So it's gonna feel really good to be able to release something really soon. Um, it's just that right now, I we are not releasing previews for two reasons. First, because it's the first version. We don't want to spoil everything and then cause no impact when we release it. We want to surprise our fans. We want to release something that they can see for the first time, appreciate and whatnot. Even though we released a very rough title menu today, that you guys can see on our YouTube in case you missed it. And for another reason is I don't know, like a lot of what we do today has very different standards. We're starting a game from the ground up. It's like from ground zero, and basically we're going to be a lot more critical of what we do, especially at early stages, because when you're fighting against time, you have to do some compromising. But right now we're still at the stage where we are very critical, very clinical, very, we analyze everything extensively. So we want to do the best possible maps, the best possible dialogue, and make sure that everything hits like really hard, to make the best possible game. And we strongly believe that all those small nuances, from menus to songs to how good the sprites look, to how detailed the dialogue is and whatnot. Because if you butcher a game, and I feel like Fleeting Iris suffered a lot from it, from our lack of experience, Muku and the CG team in general not being as obviously as proficient in their job as they are today. They have improved a lot, as have we.
Yes.
But we could just easily remake maps, remake dialogues. We did a lot of that. We remade entire routes like we did with the Clark route. Obviously, there was a lot of stuff in regards of the in regards of game making that also took a lot of improvement and also took a lot of going back and changing stuff for the better. But obviously, the one that is going to be more impactful, or the one that is going to look to cause the biggest, the more drastic impact early on, is how the quality of the CGs on the beginning of the game, because obviously the quality of the CGs at the start was not the quality of the CGs towards the end of the game. Everyone knows that, and there's a lot of people that play the game, saw the CGs, the very first few ones, and they were like, no, I'll pass. This is not, obviously they didn't age well, especially up to today's standards. But they didn't age well because they were done 8 years ago, and that's why we decided to remake some of the CGs. But it's the quality that we had at the time, and it was good enough for the time. But with years, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that tried Fleeting Iris and they didn't give it a fair shot, because they played through the rough early stages of the game and they were like, okay, this is not for me. So it's very important that it's very important to us that the first versions of Journey Abroad are absolutely amazing. Not because obviously it's going to be more monetizable and people are going to want to play it, but for us as passionate developers that we are, that I know that I am, that I know that Isaac is, we want the most amount of people possible to play our game. We want people to see our creation. It's kind of like a vain feeling, but we want people to play our creation and give us feedback. We want people to enjoy the game that we are creating. It's above like creating something that is profitable or that sells. It's important was that people play something that we can consider our best instead of playing something that was like, oh, this was the rough early stages of Leading Gary, so I'm gonna judge the game by the first 5 minutes. And it's hurtful because we put a lot of man hours, we put a lot of time not being with our families, we put time working sick, we put a lot of sacrifices to be able to release the game, to see people not give us a fair shot and play the game in the first 5 minutes and go, nah, this is not for me. And it's hurtful as a developer, and we think it's also bad because people are being prived of they're being denied an experience if they stuck with the game, and a little bit of there's people that can just not enjoy the game, period. But there's a lot of people that were like, listen, I played the game way back then, I didn't give it a fair shot then, but now that I played it, like, the game is amazing. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people that will be able to enjoy the game, but the early game might be so rough that they just don't give it a fair shot. And yeah, it's hurtful in those two ways, obviously financially, and most importantly, the reason why we're doing this is so that we can create amazing games for people to play. And it's so great for us to get like feedback and people criticize the game and tell us what they like the most and what they like the least, and having us be able to adapt depending on that feedback that we get. So it's really important to us, since we get a fresh start, a new game, new database, new everything. We want to really hit the nail on the head right from the start. Start the race with the right foot, and just set up a nice tone for the rest of the game, and get people excited for the future patches. So it's really important for us to get a really good first impression of the game, a good tech demo, and considering that we have to do two versions, we are going to do some sort of like family tree, or I don't know how to say it in English, grau de parentesco. I searched Google, but nothing translates quite to it's like relationship degree or whatever that they translated it to. So there's no verbatim translation, there's no
Okay.
no colloquialism, there's no but basically it's how everyone is related to everyone else in both versions of the game. So we have to do that because sometimes when I say the mom, or I say the blonde mom, or the blonde mom with the glasses, when I try to explain our CG artist who she is, sometimes she confuses it. This I swear I wish this was a joke, but I'm going to post an image, especially for you guys that already saw the title screen and how it looks. I'm going to show you how the title screen almost ended up because I said the blonde mom, and she she literally drew with the actual mom from the original game. So this is only going to make sense if you know more or less who is who. And okay, so in the back you can see that the original mom is the one that shows up in the back in the old title screen. I was like, no, not that mom. The other mom for the other version, the person who is actually your mom, because that's her mom in the non-incest version, but in the incest version, that's our aunt. And she was like, bro, I'm so confused. What are you doing to me? And I was like, okay.
Yeah, she was right,
Don't worry. I am going to fix this. I will draw a very nice relation.
Family tree.
Yeah, I'm gonna draw a nice family tree so you can figure out in one version of the game.
Yeah, with names for everyone, so you can say like the name of the character and this one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and people also want to start getting used to the names of the characters and be able to like this character or this character. So I'm gonna do something like do the family trees, explain who is related to who, not just in terms of like this person is this person's daughter, or I'm gonna explain who steps in, who is dating who likes who,
Sure.
where do they work, and then like below like what do they do, like what are they in relation to you. So I can explain like this is your Spanish teacher, this is your gym teacher, this is your gym personal trainer, and explain in what way those characters are related to you. But related is a bad word because it feels like they are like blood related, but in what way do you interact with those characters in the game. So this is going to be ready sometime this week, probably tomorrow, because the CG artist also needs it because she gets so confused at times, and she's absolutely right. So yeah, that's something that we need to do. So basically we need to do those two versions, and the good thing is now that Fleeting Iris is out of the way, and honestly I kept postponing Fleeting Iris, the ending, because I was like, okay, there's a lot of stuff that I want to change, but I don't think there's a lot that we have to change. And every time that I like, okay, I need to go find, I need to find, like, because all the time that I had, I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this work in Shoto Patch. Now I'm gonna put this work in the Journey Abroad, because this is the two ones that I want to work, like, this is what I want to work on right now. This is what needs to come out like really soon. And Fleeting Iris is just we just need to wrap this up and release it. And the amount of work that we had left to do in Fleeting Iris was way more than I considered it at first. First of all, I kept postponing wrapping up the entire scenes because I seriously cannot understate how painful it is to panel the same scene 9 times. And there's another thing that people don't take into consideration. There's a lot of scenes, and this is something that I'm sure that the few of you that know anything about RPG Maker, or the few of you that are extremely passionate about the game and played the game in one way and then saw a scene and I was like, wait a second, I'm pretty sure the dialogue was different last time I checked. Not only do we change a lot of dialogue every single time we release a version, we always go back to switch dialogue during scenes, dialogue from during the characters and whatnot. I guarantee you that there's not a single one of you, of everyone that ever played our game, this probably includes Isaac, there's not a single one of you that saw each entire scene in all of their possible versions. Because a lot of entire scenes change drastically depending on choices that you took in the past. Like how do you how are your standings towards like some character? Like the last entire scene that I released has 3 different sets of dialogues depending on how well do you get along with Melvin. If you are at the stage where you haven't made a decision, if you are at the or that you stop talking to Melvin, if you are at a stage where you choose to be the loyal pet, or or if you are at the stage where you chose to be the pub mistress pet, the dialogue changes completely depending on choices that you made in the past. And this one has like, I don't know, like a dozen lines that are different depending on how you get how nice you how nice is your relationship with Melvin. But there's like, I'm not kidding, like 30 to 40 scenes that the dialogue changes from a little, depending on decisions that you made in the past, to the scene is not even close to the decisions you made. I know that there's one scene that, I'm not kidding, like 95% of the images in the dialogue is different depending on choices you made in the past. So when people sometimes think that they got one scene, and obviously our scenes are not the size of the scenes of most games. Most games have like a dozen lines of dialogue and it's like, yeah, fucking come in my back, boop boop, it's done. I spend days writing these scenes, and sometimes people are like, okay, this one scene. No, it's probably like two scenes. You just need to have a different perspective and talk to another character to be able to see, like, if you're a virgin, if you're tanned, if you're not tanned.
I think the scene that has more variation in the game is probably I am masturbating.
Oh,
in
that's
bed
the
with
one.
dildo.
That's the one that has the most variations.
Yeah.
But there are some that are like, for instance, let me think of one. The one with Ayame and the guy that someone mentioned him a few days ago on Discord. He mentioned the married guy, and I was like, who the fuck is the married guy? And I think it was Aaron that said he's probably talking about the guy with the anal sex in the wall, the stuck in wall guy.
See.
And I was like, oh yeah, that guy is married because he keeps saying that his wife is on vacation or like
Yeah.
a business meeting or whatever. Yeah, obviously, sometimes those are just like little flourishings of the scenes that I want to add. Like, see, this guy is married and whatever. I just try to like spice the scene a little bit. But obviously, sometimes I miss the little details. Like, oh, I didn't even remember that guy was married. Yeah, he's, his wife is, a stuck up bitch, and she's on a business meeting, and he has sex with Ayami. And someone said,
Yeah, Maynard
the
guy. Yes.
Manor guy.
Yeah.
I think Ariane was the one that pointed out to me. He's probably talking about the Manor guy, and I didn't want to make assumptions. But sometimes when people ask me things, I already know what they're talking about. I just don't want to make assumptions. And honestly, I've already worked.
That's my job.
I've already worked way too many years in cell phone support to where I go to people and go, is this what you mean? Usually I just let people finish the sentence and be like, okay, what do you mean? Instead of going like, okay, let me get this straight. Is this what you mean? Like, I don't have patience to do that. Most of the times, I know exactly what people are talking about, but I'm like, okay, let me just be sure. This time I was like, who the fuck is the married guy? Because I kept thinking, wait, who's married? He's like one of the three guys that work for Melvin at the pub. Is one of them married? Did I say one of them was married? And then I was thinking on Sato's friends, and then I was thinking on people, and Ariane was like, oh, it's the married guy.
About what you said like 5 minutes ago, that even I don't know the entire game. Since the game is so fucking huge, and although you wrote it, you already forgot some things. There's probably not a single person on Earth who knows the entire game.
Oh, definitely, definitely, dude. I'm not kidding. There was a point where I forgot entire scenes.
I know, I was there.
I forgot entire scenes. I was like playing, and I was like, wait, what is this? I completely forgot that entire scene existed.
I know.
And I'm not gonna lie. At the time I probably disliked that scene so much. I completely erased it from my mind. There's like 300 entire scenes, and obviously the ones I like the most, it's just like a strong memory of this scene existing. And there's entire scenes where people mention, that entire scene that happened. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't remember ever writing that, but obviously, it happens. The game is just huge. And when Ariane said it's the Manor guy, I was like, oh, okay. So people were suggesting that he had vaginal sex with Ayame. He
Yes.
should have vaginal sex with Ayame. But to go back at the point at hand, to before we started this massive deviation, the point was that scene drastically changes depending on at which points in the game Ayame meets the guy. Like,
Oh,
that scene is not like, oh, it changes like a dozen.
I think all the scenes with that guy, except for the last one,
Yeah.
have variations. Like the first one
But the-
changes
but the
if,
very-
if you already had anal sex or no, it
Or
has
not,
like
yeah.
a small change. Then the second one changes if you said that you like the first time or no. It's like a completely different scene.
Or if you're like in Free Roam or Fallen, I think that one has.
Not even close.
That's
How many scenes do you have with that guy? It's 3, it's
that's
4, I
that's
don't know.
that's the one because
Jesus Christ, this game is huge.
I'm pretty sure that scene, like, not only the image, I think it's like images and dialogue, but I'm pretty sure that the second time you meet him, that scene changes like 95% depending on.
Yeah, because if you say that you don't like him, you can only have sex with him a second time once you are on Fallen.
Yeah.
But if you like the first time, you can interact with him as soon as you get Free Roam.
Yeah.
So those two scenes are completely different.
So yeah, obviously I wanna be able to work on Fleeting Hours a lot on my free time. But I kept thinking like, yeah, okay, we just need to wrap this up Fleeting Hour is almost done. I just need to wrap this up.
Yeah, I heard that shit like literally 200 anti-scenes ago. Not even joking, guys.
No, but this time it's real. I was like, okay, I just need to write an anti-scene.
This time is for real. He says for like the 100th time.
No, it was. It was. It's just that I felt like, okay, if we put like one really good day of work in this game, we'll wrap it up and release it. But we kept like, oh, okay, there's this bug. Oh, okay, we said we were going to change this. Oh, we said we were going to change this. And the backlog of stuff that I still want to go through to improve Fleeting Hours, I was like, oh my god, it's so much shit. It's actually so much shit that it's going to take a lot of time that I better just release it on stage 3. Like between now and the next time I work on Fleeting Hours, I want to work on all that stuff. I'm not kidding. The version that people have right now, which technically is the final version, compared to the first next version that people are gonna get when you start working on Fleeting Hours again, is gonna look nothing alike. Like nothing alike. There's so much shit that I want to clean up. It's not even funny. And every time I play the game, because this is something that meets what you said earlier. You said there's bugs and there's typos, but there's nothing like too big. There's like no soft locks, no hard locks, nothing that crashes the game. But the problem is when people play, if the game doesn't crash or if something doesn't look like absolutely ludicrous, like this makes no sense, people are not,
just don't notice it.
people
Yes.
don't notice it. But
Yes,
every time I
absolutely.
play the game,
There was, so to speak, a huge bug on the beach patch that only like one person saw, and it wasn't me. And when a person told me, I was like, "Dude, what? That makes no sense." And I played the game. I was like, "Oh my god!"
what was the bug?
In the lifeguard events,
Uh-huh.
the first time that you go to the pub, so Ayame and Robert are on the table.
Uh-huh.
The lifeguard enters, goes to them and talks with Ayame and says he wants to meet her outside.
Yes.
Shows the video, whatever. On that event, when Ayame is talking to Robert and Robert is talking back, Robert is not on the table with Ayame. Nobody
Wow.
noticed it.
Wow.
Only just like one guy. And I was like, wait, what? I didn't saw that. And I played the game and was like, oh my god, he was right.
So yeah, and most people don't even realize that there's a bug where it's like, okay, doesn't make a lot of sense, but whatever. They probably suck at just developing. But the problem is, every time I play the game, I'm not kidding. I play like 5 minutes because I a lot of times I start playing the game from the beginning and whatnot to see what I want to change, and I have to quit like right away. I can't do it anymore because every time I play 5 minutes, I find 12 bugs. Like this is not where I wanted this character. Oh my god, this is not the dialogue that I wanted. Oh my god, I need to change this. Oh my god, this looks terrible. Every time I play 5 minutes, I spot 12 bugs. And I'm like, of course people don't realize it, don't see it because, but it's poor. Like this character shouldn't
Yeah,
be.
because if the game crashes, well, everybody reports it. Oh my god, I was like hard locked on this event. Of course people report it, they can't play anymore. If there's like a typo, like 300
yeah.
people with the entire scene, like one people notices it.
Yeah. But for me, when I look at the game, it's like, no, this is not how it's supposed to be. So this is something that I can't just fix on like while working on 3 games. And like this is something that I need to do on my free time. I need to clean up Fleeting Hours on my free time. And what I'm also gonna do is when I finish cleaning up Fleeting Hours, I'm probably gonna grab the shoulder patch and the bestiality patch and make an alternative version in the game where just probably to release to a few people, but an unofficial version where you can actually play those scenes in the original game. But there's still a lot that I want to clean up. And for instance, that scene makes like no fucking sense. The one that I spotted in the Odd Springs, where Ayame doesn't walk all the way to the spot where
yes.
she should be.
That's fixed. It was fixed like.
It was fixed, but
the
no
version.
one knew that shit
Nobody
was.
reported it.
No, because it wasn't crashing. The scene didn't make sense because Ayame will stop like in a completely random spot. It didn't look anywhere like anything like the spot in the CG, right? Because most of the CGs try to reflect the place where she is.
Absolutely.
She will she will stop in the middle of the water, and people will be like, okay, that makes sense, but it didn't. I don't know like how people didn't go like, this stuff doesn't make sense. She's just walking in the middle of the water, and suddenly the entire scene starts. Yeah, because she wasn't walking to the right spot. I needed to like test the scene myself where I was like, someone mentioned something, and then I was checking the scene. I was like, what? Wait, why isn't this crashing to begin with? Like, why isn't this soft locking? And the scene was running anyway, but I was looking at the scene. I was like, she's not walking to the right coordinates. This scene makes absolutely no fucking sense. But since the scene didn't crash or didn't soft lock, nobody noticed it. Nobody reported. It's amazing. And there's very few things, like there's some crashes and whatnot that become memes. The one where I am ended up in the middle of the highway.
That was hilarious.
Dude, I know exactly how that bug was caused. That bug was fucking hilarious. Everybody had like a field day on that day. As soon as Zelmate was like, "Hey guys, watch," and he did the fucking a caterpillar running over Miami, that shit became a meme, like instant meme. And there was one, I swear to God, this is still a meme at the office, and only one guy noticed it. A guy once reported that every time he talked to Melvin in a specific part, the game will become soft locked. And we were like, what? No, people finish the game all the time. It's probably you. You're doing something wrong. But send us a save and whatever. And he sends us a save. We test the fucking game.
And it was working.
And it was working. And we're like, bro, I don't know what to tell you. It works. And he's like, watch, I'll send you a video. And the only difference that it makes is, instead of talking with Melvin over the table, like over the counter, where Melvin is sitting, he goes around the table and talks with Melvin from the back, and that caused a soft lock.
Yeah, because Melvin was trying to move, but
Ayame was blocking the pad. That shit was so... As soon as I saw the video and I see the guy walking around the table, instantly I was already trying to like contain my laughter, because I was like, wow, it takes a genius to break the game like that. It takes a genius to break the game like that. It was like, okay, see, this shit works the way you guys planned it to work, but user interface is...
You said yesterday about my daughter
with the juice. Yeah, your daughter shoving her hand in the juice glass and then drinking from her hand. Yeah, not people don't always use.
The dumb shit is that she drinks like a regular person. Usually, yesterday she went like, "No, I'm gonna do it like this." What the fuck, bitch?
Basically, Isaac's daughter yesterday decided to, instead of grabbing the glass and drinking juice from the glass, to just shove her hand in the glass of juice and then suck the juice out of her hand. And sometimes people don't use the stuff the way it was meant to be used, and bugs ensue. But see, in her case, it still worked, so no bug report was filed. So trust me, there's still a lot that you guys probably skip by and you don't notice, but it pisses me off. Like lights turning off at the wrong time, songs not playing. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the game that no one else notices, because no one else knows how it was meant to work to begin with. But every time I play the game, I get pissed off, and there's a lot of stuff that I still have to fix before I can consider like Fleeting Iris final. But in regards of the Steam version, we're gonna give it like one more week of bug testing.
Yeah, sure.
I'm pretty sure that you have to play the game from start to finish, all the routes.
I have to remake the saves, and
because
we are changing stuff, so that's important. So I absolutely have to play the entire game.
You have to play the entire game, make sure that nothing crashes. And after that, we're going to send it to Steam. And Steam is finally going to get an update, I think. At least the English version is. So, yay for Steam supporters. And then all the time that we have is going to be put on the Shota patch. That the CG team actually got a... last week there was a problem. So, Muku got a really bad leg injury playing football in high school. And I think last week he fucked up his leg again, so he's pretty much stuck in bed.
Like the guy in the video that you sent me.
Oh, yeah. The guy that was making the Cristiano Ronaldo celebration and ended up in the ER? Yes. What a fucking... Yo, lose weight, dude. If you can't do a celebration without getting like a massive injury on your leg, you need to lose weight. That's gravity telling you to lose weight. It wasn't even playing. He got injured doing a celebration. Okay, so right now Muku is injured, but Tiger Lila is is just doing the coloring phase, and luckily he had a lot of work ahead of time. But there hasn't been any previews lately because she needs him to finish doing the expressions, which is the last part of the CGs, and she can't because he's in bed. So basically, we haven't done any previews lately. But we're going, once we start releasing previews, like somewhere this week, we're probably going to release like 3 previews, like back to back to back, like very fast, one after the other. So don't worry. And probably once those 3 reviews are out, we're going to start working a little more harder on the Shota patch, because right now we're trying to balance our time in between the Shota patch and in between Journey Abroad. And right now, like as of today and tomorrow, we're spending 100% of our time on Journey Abroad. But as soon as we get a little bit more of CGs on the Shota patch, we're probably gonna shift a little bit of the time that we have towards the Shota patch to do the maps and whatnot. So yeah, we want to release Journey Abroad very, very soon. We already released the teaser today. I think we're missing like a couple more sprites, one more CG, and by the time those arrive, I've probably already fixed the title menu to look as I want it to look like, and I've already finished all the maps. I can do the dialogues and do the first version. So you know, no promises in terms of time, because I never know, because the problem with giving people an estimate release date, and I am the type of person that everyone tells me, just stop giving release dates, just release whenever it's out. The only problem that I have with that, because I like to be transparent, is like, listen, I think that this is going to come out around this time. The problem is there's always something that you're like, I can improve that, and usually when we release is when we make some sort of compromise, like quality over this is how fast we need to release something. But most of the time, especially now for this version that we want to release everything like super clean, you're like, every time you release something that you're like, I'm not 100% happy with this, I just can't compromise this early in the game. For Fleeting Hours, I did that a lot.
Yes.
For Fleeting Hours, I did that a lot, and I just kept increasing the backlog. And like,
yes,
I need to go back and fix this. I need to go back and change this. I don't like this map. I need to go back and fix this. I need to go back and change this dialogue. And you always have so much work to do ahead of you that you never have time to go back and fix.
Yeah, we were always chasing deadlines, and that's fucking terrible.
Yeah, so for Journey Abroad, I'm gonna make sure that everything that I release is like, because it's not like lack of planning. When we were making Fleeting Hours, we didn't know what we were planning for. We didn't know which scripts were going to be in the game. We didn't know exactly how the gameplay will play out. We didn't know how it will translate from Fleeting Hours to other future games on the same world map. There was a lot that we just didn't know. And now we know better. And you know, when you know better, you do better. I think Oprah Winfrey said that. Or it was Maya Angelou. Or maybe Maya Angelou to Oprah Winfrey, or maybe they heard it from somewhere. But when you know better, you do better, and we know better. We know better, we are better, we will do better. And I think that the first version of Journey Abroad, regardless of which version you play, is going to be absolutely epic, and it's going to be... I love knowing so many languages because I already know the word that I want to say.
Leaps and bounds above the first version of Fleeting Hours.
No, yes, that too. But the problem is, I have a word in my head and I already know how to say the word in German, Portuguese, and French, but I can't remember how to say the word in English.
Which word it is?
The word is, what was I talking about? Oh, contemporâneo. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. It's gonna look contemporary, like it's gonna look updated, like actualized. I don't know how to say it in English, but the problem is that what I'm trying to say is the game is gonna look like a game from now to now with the technology from now. Like, you know when you say that games didn't age well, but they were amazing way back when? Journey Abroad needs to look like a game made now for now with the technology that we have now. So it needs to look amazing. Like it needs to look like, yes, this is a game up to the 2022 standards, which are not the 2014 standards. Like no way, Jose. Like it's not the same thing.
Whose fault is that? It's our fault. We raised the bar for entire games.
For a lot of stuff, yes.
It's our fault.
It's not. It's not just us. It's probably like a dozen developers. But in terms of size, in terms of like, I think that the way that we spoil the community the most and ourselves is we no longer take 10-minute games seriously. We no longer look at this as like, is this the work that you spent 8 months and this is what you have to show? Like you spent like 1 year, 2 years working on this game and you give us like 15 minutes of gameplay on 2 years of development. Games that I might be enjoying, but if I play the game and the game is like 5 minutes long, or you see during the game that people are always taking like shortcuts to do the least amount of work. All that stuff, I'm like, oh, come on, man, you can do better than that. Especially me as a developer, I look at stuff that obviously a lot of people are not going to look. And sometimes I know exactly why they did what they did. And I'm like, come on, man, you're just being lazy there. But obviously people, not just me as a developer, obviously fans, and I'm a fan before I'm a developer, are going to be like, what is this? I thought I was gonna play a nice game. Like I play the game. The game is Western. I think the guy is Portuguese actually. That's one of the reasons that I played. But the game is like NDR game where there's this like redhead that has sex with like her school friend that is like a black guy with a big dick. And that's why she fucks him and whatever. The game has like 6 scenes.
The entire game.
The entire game, 6 scenes.
We have more scenes than that, like in our beach map.
Yes. So
what?
So the problem is when people play that, like if people play that,
For how long was that game in development?
I don't know, like 6 months.
Jesus Christ.
And the art is not like Muku's art. It doesn't move. It doesn't have like a bunch of like expressions. It's like there was like 6 stills and that was it. But the thing is, if this was 10 years ago, people will be like, oh, it was kind of short, but I enjoyed it. Nowadays, people are like, okay, the demo was fine. Where's the full game? People no longer take that like that. If what was his face? The Steam game that made like $2.5 million on the crowdsourcing game, the Kickstarter. Dude, I have the game. I think it was Arngrim that gave me the game. Someone gave me the game. Was it MTX? It doesn't matter. I just need to come here on the entire. Oh, shit. Cyberverse? What? If I tried verse, is it gonna Shadowverse? No, Subverse. God damn it, Subverse. Yes, Subverse. If Subverse came out, okay. So where are the? I want to see. I want to go on store page and see what's the. Oh yeah, mostly negative. So recent reviews is mostly negative.
Huh.
The reason why is the Studio FOW game, and the reason why the game is mostly negative is the standards. They promised something and they released something completely different.
Oh.
But the game hasn't improved since it was released. Like they released an early version of the game and they were like, "Don't worry, guys, we're gonna release something amazing," and they haven't, at least yet. And most people are fucking tired of the game. They're calling them scammers, etc., etc. But the major point is, if this game was released 10 years ago, this game wouldn't be getting half the shit that it's getting right now. People's standards are way and above, and obviously seeing like lazy patrons, lazy developers, lazy subscribe star developers, and whatnot, is people are getting a little bit more woke regarding developers. Like these guys just, people like Xtor, the guy from Incest Stories and whatever. Obviously, he still has like a massive player base and massive amount of support and whatnot. There's people that are like, I don't care how long I have to wait for my porn as long as I get my porn. But people, in general, have much higher standards, and people are going to let you know. People are going to let you get a piece of their mind once they see that you're getting lazy, or that you're under developing, or you're just, being a shitty developer, like almost on purpose, you took away, you grabbed the money and took off with it. Like, people can tell nowadays. People are a lot more, yeah, we want to make sure that once we release Journey Abroad, that we're like, okay, this game is up to today's standards. It's not like, listen guys, we were this good back in the day, we're gonna try and run away with the same recipe, like the same recipe that we used 8 years ago, same one we're gonna use now. No, we want to do something like super fresh, super clean, and we are not going to settle for mediocre. We are not going to settle for decent. We want to make sure that everything from the maps to the dialogue to the menus to the songs that we pick, everything, we want to make sure that everything is like super fun to play, super entertaining, super erotic, immersive. We want to make sure that people have a really nice experience when they play the game. We don't want to make the game frustrating. We don't want to make the game banal, trivial. We don't want to make the game just like one more game. We want to make the game to be like a really nice experience. We want to make the characters have a lot of character, have a lot of personality, have very distinct personalities. We want to make something that causes an impact. We don't want to make an average game. So obviously, there's a lot of work to be put on Journey Abroad. But even on the Shota patch, which is something that I felt, even though I wasn't very into it, and even though I only had 1 month to work in it, like, I still think that with 1 month that I had to work in the bestiality patch, I still did something very decent.
Yes.
People forget that I only had 1 month to release that. But the thing is, every time I work in the Halloween patch, and every time I work in a different patch, like right now the Shota patch, it feels like I'm working on a new game. There's no, I need to go back and fix, which is something that is like a cloud always over your head when you're working on Fleeting Iris. Is, oh man, this is good, but I could make this better, or the build up to this could be better. And at some point you just have to like wrap up and own your mistakes and move on. Fleeting Iris was amazing for what it was, but I can never have Fleeting Iris go up to my standards, to the standards that the game itself built. I can never build Fleeting Iris up to my standards, because my standards are not the same standards that they were.
How ironic.
I created, so this is funny, because I spoil myself into standards that I cannot keep up with, and I cannot grab the game and improve it all to my standards. So at some point you need to go full circle and go like, okay, it's time to wrap up Fleeting Iris. It was amazing for what it was. People sometimes forget that it's a game that has been in development for like 8 years. It's the biggest anti-scene of the genre in terms of amounts of anti-scenes with images, and in terms of dialogue. Fleeting Iris, last time I checked, had something like, it was ridiculous, like 72 million
Words.
no, that was 256 million words.
Okay.
It had something like 72 million lines of dialogue. It was fucking ridiculous. It was absolutely insane. And it's listen, if you read the entire game, and if you play all the anti-scenes, and you play all the routes, and dude, you know how long it takes to play our fucking game? If you don't hold the control key and you actually read everything.
Dude, right now, even if you do hold the control key,
dude,
Jesus.
Even if you hold the control key, you know how long it takes to play our game? By the time you start playing our game, when you finish, probably Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 will be announced.
Dude, come on.
I'm sorry guys, I just wanted to take a jab at fucking Square Enix again. But it's big, dude. It's fucking huge. And that's not going to be the selling point, and that's not, because I just wanted to make, like, every time I played other games, it always felt like this game is fun, but it ends by the time I'm starting to get like when I'm starting to actually have a lot of fun with the game, it ends. That happened to me on many games. Arms Devices, Sacred Eyes, a lot of games that were old and were like the standard way back when. It was like, oh man, I wish he made more scenes with this guy. Oh man, he made this area over here and he never used it. And there were a lot of things that were like, oh man, just when the game was starting to get good, the game ends. So I was like, listen, I'm not gonna do that with Fleeting Iris. And what I did instead was, oh my god, when does the fucking game end? People, probably there's very, very few people that actually unlocked all the scenes by themselves legitimately.
Well, I did.
I know you
I have
did.
to.
I know Zelmate did. If he didn't unlock all of them, he unlocked
Yeah,
most of them.
but even I who know where everything important at least is, what happens a lot of time is when I have to play the entire game to create new saves and check everything and whatnot, I finish everything and I'm like, oh shit, I'm missing like this event, and that event, and the other event because I
and
didn't remember to do those.
there's a few that you can miss. I'm
Because
pretty sure.
there's a lot of events now that don't belong to like 20 routes.
Mhm.
We used to have like 5 or 10. Now we have like a bajillion.
That's why we need, because the free roam was the last thing we did.
Yes.
But there's still a lot. There's still a lot of That's the reason why we need to make the walkthrough. That's the main reason why we need to make the walkthrough.
Why do you have to say that?
Because we listen. At some point, people need to understand. You need to go to this place right now, or forever hold your peace, because you're gonna miss this scene. I know there's a couple like that. I know the
Yes.
subway is kind of like that.
There's a couple of subways like that.
The garden
one
is-
the one with Chloe is
The
like
garden
that.
is kind of like that. The Chloe,
The opals are like that. You have to start the route like early because she needs to
Yeah.
have high morality.
and people
stuff.
need to know that, and it's fun to like play.
You can lose the lifeguard scenes if you cancel Sato because you have
Yeah.
to make the video first before triggering the
Yeah.
sure.
If so, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that unlock most scenes, and then we're missing like 3 or 4, and they were like, "How do you unlock this scene? Oh, you gotta do this on this specific time of the game."
Oh yeah, pff, yeah.
And they
sure.
were like, "Oh, fuck that!" And they just listen. There's like 4 scenes missing. I'm just gonna talk to this character.
Yeah, but one thing that our game has that's really cool is that it's really worth to play the game not just for the entire scenes. The plot is actually very decent.
No comments.
That's yeah, absolutely. But yeah, for instance, the events in the beach, the most recent patch we had. The stories, like for example, with the lifeguard, because he sees I am in the video with Sato, and then they talk about it, and he tells her to become a lifeguard and whatever. The plot is actually very interesting in our game. So if you just go to the CG room and just watch the anti-scenes,
I agree for that.
even if you do that and you watch every anti-scene for the game, you are still missing in a lot of good content.
Yeah, I think if you just watch, and that a lot of people complain about that, like, you guys should make the entire scenes where you see a little bit of the dialogue early and whatever. And the reason why I didn't do it's like, sounds to me like you guys want to play the game without playing the game.
Yeah, we have that for some anti-scenes where it makes sense to select the dialogue first or the dialogue afterwards or something, but watching like the entire events and fuck, I forgot the word. Unravel. In the story progression and the characters developing their relationships and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good. Especially if you compare it with other entire games where the girl is like doing shopping for groceries, sleeps on a banana peel, and oh shit, I'm getting gangbanged. That's, come on. That's not a plot.
Even though I might sound biased on anything regarding that, I am going to say that, at least on a personal level, I think that you're missing out a lot if you don't see the scenes in context and if you don't see the character.
I'm gonna say this: if you grab Fleeting Iris and you completely remove the sex from it, you still have a very solid story.
I mean,
There are a lot of routes that are still interesting watching, like the development, even if you don't watch like the porn, so to say.
I don't.
And I haven't seen that in any anti-game ever.
Yeah, on anti-games is hard. I mean, I think people need to give more credit to like good writers. And I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about most people that, like, most of the anti-games that I like have like shitty writing. It's like I think I have shitty writing. Like, people maybe in the smut my writing is decent. Maybe the scenarios, the tropes that we play out, they are decent, but you know, this is no Stephen King, the labyrinth thing, the one with the eye grass or whatever. The
Yeah, but you are not doing Lines of Coke every day, so
that too, but like people that are really amazing writers are really amazing writers. Like there are people that are absolutely like amazing on their fields, and obviously there's not a lot of I think like in manga, I think there's people like I know there's a guy like Shindle, for instance. There's a developer, not a writer. I think he's now a developer as well because he's making his own game. But I think there's a writer for manga called Shindle, and he makes NTR stories so heavy with like prostitution and drugs and whatever and whatnot that it really causes like big fucking feelings of revolt and sadness and like depressive feelings on people when they read his manga. So regardless if you feel well or bad or whatever, what type of feeling you're looking for when you're playing something. That's why it kind of pisses me off when you're watching a movie and you're like you love the tone of the movie and everything is amazing, and in the last few minutes it's like, listen, watch this cause impact, and they kill characters for no fucking reason, characters that you like, and it's like, did you just kill that character to cause an impact? Like that to me is like shitty writing. It's like it's just weird. There's like some tropes that I'm like, time lapses and going back in time, and there's this stuff when people touch it, it's really hard to do it in the right way. And obviously a lot of the games that I like, for instance, let me give you a few games that were released not too long ago that I liked, like Lust Prison. It's basically two characters that they have to do something in the prison, and for some reason they get pregnant faster. Karen's Prison is just like this woman goes and becomes the warden of a prison, and she needs to keep the prison in place. Like nothing about this story is outstanding. It's not the selling point. It's not what makes the game great. And I think Fleeting Hours, the story, I'm personally, I'm not gonna talk about the story if I feel it's good or bad, especially because all of you don't know the full story. It's going to be told over the course of all the games. But I do feel, without trying to be biased, that you lose a lot if you don't see the character build and if you don't see the scenes in actual context. And especially if you play them out, because like I said previously, a lot of what you do on early game and a lot of the decisions that you make early in the game change the scenes ahead. So every save feels very personal. So when people grab your save, the save that Isaac creates, to see the scenes, that's one thing. Okay, you get a little bit of a story, but especially right now, or when Isaac releases the bug fixed version or whatever, that will be the perfect time to finally start and do a save on your own, because it feels to me, this is just my opinion, that every save is very personal, because all the decisions that you make, even though it doesn't look like it because the game doesn't alert you, the game doesn't tell you what happens here and whatnot, sometimes you just read dialogue and you don't even realize that there's like 5 different versions of that conversation. Every save is very personal.
yeah. For instance, in last page there's like 2 or 3 scenes, I don't remember exactly, that you can watch since you get free roam. But if you only watch them after enemy gets fallen, there's some dialogue that changes.
Yeah, the last scene as that thing. So I feel like every save is very personal. So in that regard, another thing that I want to talk before going before leaving, because we only have like 17 more minutes tops, is I know that last week I was supposed to keep posting the reviews on Twitch, on Twitter. We have a Twitch channel, but we haven't used it in so long.
Wait, we have used it?
Yeah, we did. At the time, we were doing like let's plays with some of our some of the members of our community on Discord. We were doing let's plays like PUBG and whatnot on.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this was a long time ago. When we had time to actually go on hours of gameplay with our.
You're funny.
Yeah, this was kind of like before Tiger Lila joined the team, so we had to like take long periods of time waiting for Muku to be able to deliver the scenes, because he was working alone on Evan Studios Eastern team. But yeah, I was supposed to. Let me see which was the last one that I released. I think it was like number 6. I promise I will release like 30. So yay, I have a lot to recommend. Well, no, that was wait. I think this is it. Um, oh, okay. So I already did 7. So I only need to do 33 more, 23 more. So yay! But I promise today I'm gonna post the next one. It's just that every time I had time to I will pretty much just put it in the game because I really want to have Journey Abroad out very very soon. So yeah, and like I said, for instance, yesterday I was planning to do to finish up a map, and I was like, wait, I think I need to read about this, and I ended up spending the whole day watching videos on YouTube.
Like the gift from the other day from Malcolm in the Middle, where he goes to change the light and then...
Yes, I don't know where I posted it. I think I posted it on Discord, but that's the guy that goes to like change the light, but then he goes, he hears the drawer squeak, and then he tries to fix that, and then yet he doesn't have oil, so he needs to go to the store. But when he gets to the car is not working, so he needs to fix the car, to go to the store, to fix the drawer, to get the lamp, to fix the light bulb. And yesterday it felt kind of like that, like, okay, I need to change this. And then I went on YouTube I started finding guides, and I wanted to do written guides because I'm not like, oh, I don't want to spend like 25 minutes on YouTube to, you know, I only need 1 minute of this video. There's like one specific minute out of this video, like 30 seconds, that tells me exactly what I want to know, but I don't know where those 30 seconds are, so I need to watch the whole fucking video.
Yes.
And this keeps happening. And yesterday I had like 12 tabs open, and I was just learning about parallax mapping on VXAs, on MV, and I learned a lot. But I just feel like right now it's 2022. If you're making something that you can consider like a big professional project, and if you're doing it on RPG Maker and you're not parallax mapping, you're doing it wrong. Like, at this point, especially if you have the experience and the years of development that we have, if you're not doing everything that you can to separate yourself from the rest of the pack, you're missing out. And parallax mapping, especially for someone that has Photoshop and image editing experiences I have, and even if you don't, you gotta start somewhere. Like, people always say, the best way to get ahead is get started, and that sentence has layers, because like, if you wanna do something in life, you need to get started somewhere. But 1 year from now, you want to be like, oh man, I kept postponing this. Is it too late? But if you keep saying that it's too late, and if you don't do it, 1 year from now, you could have had 1 year of experience, and you're just going to be thinking, oh man, it's too late. But if you start now, 1 year from now, you already have 1 year of experience. Or maybe you'll be there next year and be like, oh man, I could have done that, but I didn't. And you're just losing on that experience. And right now I feel like if you don't do everything that you can to separate yourself from the pack, if you don't do personal sprites, because there's so many people on Fiverr, there's so many people on the RPG Maker Discords offering their services, RPG Maker forums, the official forums and whatnot. You can there's a lot of free copyright free, royalty free, whatever producers. And even those that charge money, a lot of them don't charge a lot of money. You have videos on YouTube of people doing Fiverr reviews. Like, there's a guy that was like, okay, so I grabbed this and I gave it to like 10 people, and he has people that charge anything from like $50 to like $2,000, and sometimes the $50 one does the best job, and the $2,000 one is like, oh my god, this guy is horrible. And we're talking about like legit composers that do amazing songs. They're like, I'm gonna ask other composers to do the song, and I'm gonna rate them. And sometimes the $50 one, the $15 one, is the best one out of all the guys, and he's paying like $2,000 to a guy for something that is like mediocre, and he's paying $15 to another guy that does like an amazing job. And there's people that do shit for free. So if you're not doing personal sprites, parallax mapping, original soundtrack or non-RPG Maker soundtrack, so you don't have to hear the same song a million times if you're an avid RPG Maker and game player, you just need to stand out somehow, some way. And you know, if you have the means, if you have the technical knowledge to do better, man, just do better. I feel that there's a lot of developers that show a lot of promise, but they don't do better because they're lazy, because they're they're not transparent. They lie to their customers. They lie to people. There's dissidence in the team. Someone is threatening to leave. Someone is being lazy. Just be transparent. This is happening. This person is not delivering as fast as we expected him to do. And and in our regard, is like, can we release stuff faster? Can we release Journey Abroad faster? Yeah, if you guys want trash, we can release it Friday. But if you want like songs in the right time, the right expressions, dialogue, sprites, everything done correctly, and if you want a unique experience, quality takes time. Quality takes time. I once told a guy on our old forums that, rest in peace, HRPG Evan, where it all started. But I once told a guy, you cannot expect quality caviar at the speed of canned tuna. and that's pretty much it. And I'm not saying that I'm gonna deliver like lobster or main caviar, but I can deliver trash and I can deliver the best that we can release. And obviously, if you guys follow us, it's because you guys believe in our quality, in our talent. So we are doing our best to release the best possible game. I know a lot of people already saw the title screen. People are like, wow, it looks good. We are dying to play it. And we are like, okay, the logo needs to be changed. The icons, they're already in the right place and whatever, but they clash a little bit with the rest of the background. There's a lot of stuff that we're a little bit more clinical, more critical than most people. But I promise you guys that we are working hard every day to reach that. And obviously, there's going to be a Flynn and Gary's updated version very soon. We have to thank everyone that posted bugs, specifically and more specifically the two people that gave us the biggest support, which was Aaron N, which did a lot of bug reports. Conjust, I don't know if I'm writing his name correctly, but Conjust, I don't know.
He found a lot of typos and stuff.
He was playing a lot. He found a lot of typos.
Yes.
He reported all of them. It was amazing. All this stuff is really helpful, and you guys that are everyone in general that reported bugs and trying to offer feedback. I still haven't got a lot of feedback regarding the last patch, or regarding shrinking the town, or the new events and the new squares and the events and the hearts around the city. We didn't get a lot of feedback, but it's okay, because I know that there's a lot of people that are they're already getting tired and worn out from Flynn and Gary. So I'm pretty sure that everyone is going to miss it once it's gone. But it's one of those things. Before we go, there was like someone that was question. I think it was Latex. Yeah, it was Latex. So Latex says, I saw your menu test on YouTube. Again, for everyone that hasn't noticed it yet, we released the video on YouTube with the title screen, or a very rough first version of a title screen for Journey Abroad. And Latex said he has a different name on the chat, but I don't think he is here right now. I don't remember his name on the chat, but I know he has a different name. Latex said, saw your menu test on YouTube. It looks nice. Will the menu be the same in both versions, or will it say what version you are playing, for instance? And then he says spoilers, because for those that don't know, there will be a family version, an incest version, and another version. There will be something that says which version you are playing. But the image in general fits both. Because regardless if you're a tenant or regardless if you're a mom, you move in with them, and
it's the same.
Those are the most important characters. But the game in general, you're going to get obviously you're going to get like a warning. It's going to be like Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue. You get like incest version in blue, and the tenant version in pink. But yeah, it will not be the same. You will be able to see easily which version you are playing. But the once the game starts, the games, especially the first hour of gameplay, is going to be drastically different between both versions. One of them, you start talking with your father and telling you that you're going to move with your mom, which is another character, and the other one, you start in your room, just pretty much just venting out to a friend how you're tired of living with your mom and your stepfather, and their boyfriend, because they're not even together like that. And then your mom approaches, which is another character, and then you talk to her, and that's when you decide you want to move in. But yeah, you will be able to tell from the title menu which version you are playing. I think this is all that I wanted to talk about. I talked about the Shota patch and when we start working on it. Right now we're going full on working on Journey Abroad. At least me, Isaac is giving the final cleaning touches on Fleeting Iris with the bug fixes and whatnot. He spent pretty much the whole day just fixing typos and fixing bugs and
I also spent a lot of time in Journey Abroad because I went to test the thing and
yeah,
change the script and
the thing with
talk with
yeah,
you.
and that's another thing that is like it pisses me off so much. We had a plugin for the menu on Journey Abroad, and I was like, okay, this plugin is pissing me off because it was pixelating some of the images and whatnot. It was a plugin problem, and then I went to our scripter / plugin guy, and I was like, listen, this plugin works like this. Can we change it so it works like this other way instead of like starting like 100 and then scaling to 130% where it's going to pixelate stuff? Can it start at like 70% and then the selected image goes up to 100% and that way it won't pixelate? And he's like, you shouldn't even use that plugin. That guy is known for being a shitty developer and he doesn't offer any support for his shit. It's outdated and it creates conflicts with every other plugin that you find. And I was like, well, I had a small problem. Now I have a massive fucking problem on my hands. So a lot of what I did today was fix the problems, Isaac as well, that we didn't even know we had yesterday.
Yes, absolutely.
Yesterday everything was flowers, you know. It was yesterday everything was a Beatles song. You know, all the problems seem so far away, and the next day it's like, okay, see all these three plugins that you're using, they're shit. They cause conflicts. They're garbage. You need to take them out of the game, and you need to find replacements for them or write new plugins. So something that we didn't even know was a problem yesterday became a massive problem today, and that's why we were so happy to post the title screen, because that title screen is already fixed with the updated plugins, and everything is working correctly. And yeah, so there's that. So yeah, a lot of work ahead of us, but it's amazing because we're so close to releasing everything. Fleeting Hour is going to get the last version. It's going to go on Steam. Journey Abroad is soon to follow, and then the Shota patch is going to come somewhere in this summer. I still don't think that July. Okay, maybe July might be a little bit too. But somewhere in August. August might seem realistic. Yeah, what isn't that the date that we set last time that we said that? I think it was August, because it was August, September, October, which will leave us 2 months to work on the Halloween patch. We always said August. Yeah, August still seems the realistic release date. Somewhere in August. I mean, depends if nothing happens to the CG team. But August. Listen. It's not a big deal. We Isaac and I will have most. Oh shit! That's a problem. We'll have to make do. It has to come on in August. Period. It has to come on in August because we want to work on the Halloween patch, and we want to work in the Christmas patch, and we want at least 2 months to work in each. So we want September and October to work in the Halloween patch. And we want November and December to work on the Christmas patch. So it has to come out in August. So I'll try to express the urgency of releasing this patch in the next roughly 3 months, because we still have almost all of June, all of July, and all of August if we want to hit those tentative deadlines. And that feels very, very realistic for the Shota patch. So we just need to push forward a little bit. I don't know how many scenes we are releasing. We're gonna get 3 scenes very soon. I don't know how many we had already. I think Zell mentioned that it was like we had like six right now. A couple of them are going to be still. So I feel like it's very realistic to say that the game is gonna, the Shota patch is gonna come out somewhere in August. It's still where we want to release it. So yeah, we're gonna aim for that. And Journey Abroad very, very soon. The sooner the better. We want to release both versions very, very soon. We are working the entire day on it to be able to release the game as fast as possible. So yeah, you guys are going to get the deadlines and the dates that we said in the last few podcasts is still remain. Very soon, guys. Very soon we're gonna release amazing stuff. So yeah, this week, please keep sending us all the bugs, as many as you can find about Fleeting Iris, so that we can release the final version this week. And I mean, the final version is already out. We just want to clean up out as many bugs as we can, and we want to be able to send it to Kagori Games for them to upload it to Steam. And yeah, Journey Abroad very soon, and hopefully the Shota patch in August. And today I will release I will start releasing the reviews. It's not reviews, it's recommendations, but the recommendations on Twitter again. Why do they have so fucking similar names? God damn it. Twitter. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this massive podcast where we just ramble mostly. It's almost an hour and 30 minutes, but yeah, I hope we kept you company going back home from work and whenever you guys listen it. I want to appreciate everyone that showed up on chat and talked with Zelmate, Ariane, Uriel Jesus, Fam, I love you, I think, and Akazaro. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for listening live, and all of you listening not live, listening to this on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Have a nice day. Stay healthy. Stay strong. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
起きてわかり寝坊しちゃった思い出したのは君のことです